Wrong one. Oh.
Oh, we're going live.
You can do it. We are going live right now.
Live now.
Yep.
Oh, we're live.
There we are.
Hello.
I tried to stop it.
Technical
but
difficulties.
It's going.
That's all right. No problem. Last week we had live issues when we were trying to get Dillon in on the
Yeah, that was my fault.
thing. And
I clicked the wrong button like 3
it
times.
happens.
Oops.
We were trying to get all set up in this beautiful ring light that no one can see behind, but here we go.
Big glow.
It's not
Oh, it's not
plugged
plugged in. I didn't thought it was a battery powered.
All right.
It is Monday. Thank you
Yes,
for
it
joining us for this Facebook Live. Lisa, Scott, Dillon here. We're going to get our act together here eventually, but remember, you can always watch this sometime between 8 and 8:30. We go live on Facebook.
Yep.
You can watch it on our InForum YouTube channel, your favorite platform for podcast platform as well. Just go to inforum.com/podcasts, and you will always find this there. Can I just blame Monday and it's cold and I just want to go home and get back into bed and
Nobody's stopping you.
for the rest of the week.
Get that fuzzy blanket and curl up in it.
That's my,
Yep.
well, Dillon, you always join us, but today, like I said, this week is just something else, brutal.
This week is cold. Yeah, we got this good snowpack on the ground, and that good solid snowpack, I mean, it's just going to keep us cold for a while. At least this week for sure. We have this Arctic air mass plus this good snowpack. It's cold. I think today we'll get above 0. But, woo, like maybe 2 degrees.
It's like, how many?
Yeah, our forecast high is 3. But, I mean, if you can count the number of degrees we are above 0 on one hand, it's just not good enough. So, we're going to be cold all week today, starting off with today. Maybe a little bit of light snow too, moving on in from the west to the east. Less than an inch or around an inch for the Fargo area. Up north near Highway 2 might see 1 to 2 inches. So Grand Forks, Thief River Falls, maybe Devil's Lake. But quick dash of snow, and then we're just getting colder.
Speaking of snow, this morning you talked about snowfall so far
Yeah.
this season.
Yep.
Some pretty impressive numbers.
Yeah, so far from the start of October through yesterday, it's been Bismarck's snowiest period on record. They have 46 inches of snow from the beginning of October. 46!
That's a lot of snow.
I was in Bismarck yesterday for a family Christmas, and the snow drifts, like the girls
Yeah.
brought their sleds, and it was awesome. But I was going to ask you too, because the roads coming back were horrible.
Yep.
There's this little area in Jamestown. The road map showed that it was like not so bad. Jamestown, for some reason, the roads are good.
Yeah.
Out near Bismarck, not good.
Yeah,
You
I was
had
a
that.
lot of places. I went down 94 to Alec this weekend, and from Fargo to like Barnesville was terrible. Like it was like lazy eyes, traffic's on like 40. That was on Saturday. And then I went from Moorhead to Grand Forks on 75 and 220, I think the highways are in Minnesota, because I heard 29 was so bad. 75 wasn't terrible. You can tell Minnesota was salting the roads. And I took 29 on the way back last night. And that was good in spots, but terrible in other spots. Like I saw 3 cars in the
It's so
ditch within a
hard
mile.
that we were talking about that. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
it's good, but then all of a sudden it's like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
not.
And with this cold snap, whatever the crews are putting on the roads, it's not actually helping because it doesn't work when it's below 0. So we're kind of just stuck with this until we get a warm day, which nobody wants to hear. Or it might be a slow improvement throughout the next week and a half.
When is that? When will it be
I mean,
better?
our 10-day forecast, we don't have
May?
anything remotely close to double digits until almost the new year. So
Wow.
that's
Okay.
next
Oh,
Tuesday.
Dylan.
Yeah, the last
Bring
week
on
of December.
2023.
Yeah, maybe 2023 will be warmer.
Yeah.
Maybe. It's like maybe
No
Mike drop these out.
promises.
Yeah, he's like, no promises. Thanks,
Thank
Dylan.
you, Dylan.
All right, as we continue to deal with some of this cold weather now, we're still dealing with some of the snow from that big winter storm. And this morning, crews are in downtown Fargo cleaning up some of that leftover snow, that kind of thing.
I'm
The
sorry.
wrong script.
I was
That's
like,
all
you're
right.
going to look at me here pretty soon and say, what's the next story?
I was
Okay, sorry to
wondering.
interrupt.
No, you're good. It's Monday. We're getting there. We're getting through it. All right. Yeah, so this morning, crews are in downtown Fargo cleaning up the snow that's left over down there. Big thing that they want you to know is if your car is out right now on some of those streets that could get towed, that's specifically areas that are marked for no parking areas on the east-west streets downtown. Of course, they want this free so they can get all that snow out of there because it piles up, creates issues, that kind of thing. You can still park in some of those surface lots, the ramps, and then the north-south streets. However, if you do have your car in one of those spots you're not supposed to be, it will get towed, and to get it out of the impound lots, like $120. So just try to get it off the road.
Yikes, no kidding. And like on a side note, we didn't really talk about this on air today, but that snow that they're removing from downtown Fargo going to to Mount Fargo. So we're really excited to eventually, or here very soon, have Dillon go out and like climb,
Yeah,
the
that'll be
top
fun.
of Mount Fargo. So we're getting there because we have a ton of snow.
Yeah.
Similar situation going on right now in Detroit Lakes. They're doing snow roll-up work, which I actually hadn't heard that term before.
Yeah,
roll-up work, which is I think kind of what they're doing in downtown Fargo too. Snow roll-up involves removing excess snow from boulevards using payloaders and dump trucks. That process started early this morning on several roads in Detroit Lakes as well. Streets will be marked with temporary no parking signs. All parked vehicles should be moved off these streets. Otherwise, once again, also in DL, your car could get towed if you don't get it out of the way. Because we want to get that snow out of the way so the roads don't get so skinny.
Absolutely. All right, also, North Dakota will be offering sober ride vouchers over the upcoming Christmas holiday in an effort to prevent driving under the influence, which of course is a good thing. Vision Zero's ND Sober Ride will give people Lyft vouchers to help pay for rides started on December 19th to January 1st. That's according to their website. Those vouchers are for $10 off a ride using the promo code, write this down, VZWinter22. You can get that $10 off coupon, pretty easy thing there. Now, over the Thanksgiving holiday, they did a similar thing. That was the state used a similar service, providing 80 people with those vouchers. And last year, alcohol-related deaths occurred every 13 hours in North Dakota, and deaths from driving while intoxicated occurred about every 10 days. So not something to take lightly.
No, for sure. Here's a story that we've been tracking for you here on WDAY since Election Day. This year's general election in Cass County prompted concerns when very long lines formed at polling sites. A new report is now offering some insight on how they could improve that situation. The report made a number of suggestions, such as expanding early voting hours, maybe beyond 6 p.m., including Saturday hours for early voting. Also improving workflow for some of the busier sites like West Acres and Calvary United Methodist Church. Maybe also adding some more voting centers, increasing staff in both metro and rural areas. Just some of the ideas right now. But it's interesting. It's only December and they're already saying, hey, we need to be on top of this. We need to fix it. So we'll continue tracking that for you and see what changes they do actually make before the next election day.
For sure. Grand Forks County Commissioners are still considering alternative funding sources for construction projects. This comes after a proposed sales tax increase failed to gain approval by voters last month. Their largest proposed project is the refurbishment of the Grand Forks County Correctional Center. That is an estimated cost of over $13 million. And then the construction of a new juvenile detention center for roughly $10 million more dollars. So in total, the commissioners are seeking about $38 million in funding for those projects, as well as various other repair jobs throughout the county.
Okay, Grand Forks County to the city of Grand Forks. As development on the upper and lower reaches of Grand Forks continues, some city leaders say 2022 could be one for the record books. After the announcement of both the Fufang and the Epitome plants, the city administrator, Todd Phelan, believes Grand Forks is actually gearing up just for massive expansion. Part of the expanding industry in the city means there's a need for more infrastructure, so they're looking into that now, improving roads, wastewater, some of the other things that go along with all these big projects. If you're worried about funding, they're saying at this point it's going to come from a variety of sources, including utility rates, special assessments, and state grants. But of course, the cost of the Fufang-related infrastructure projects will be paid for, at least in part, by that company.
All right, today the Salvation Army will be giving away hundreds of meals to families in need this holiday season. More than 950 families registered for these meals back in the fall. Families will be able to grab the meal starting this morning at 9 o'clock, which is about 45 minutes from now. And then that goes until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Those meals are being picked up at Hope Lutheran Church. Of course, the program was made to make sure families can have a nice hot meal during this time and not have to necessarily worry as much about their budget.
Hanukkah started yesterday, and there's a big event happening today that you might want to take part in. The public's invited to the lighting of a large menorah just outside the main Fargo Public Library. Of course, that's the 9 branch candle holders. They're lit each day of the Hanukkah season, if you're not familiar with that. Besides the lighting of the menorah, there's also going to be some fun events. Well, can we call it just eating Hanukkah treats? That's a fun event.
Yeah.
Playing with toys. There's going to be some holiday music as well. That's all happening at 6 o'clock starting tonight, just outside the Moorhead Main Library, once again.
Cool event.
Or Main Fargo Library. I said Moorhead. It's going to be outside
Fargo.
the Main Fargo Library. So check that out tonight.
All right, we've been keeping an eye on flu cases, a lot of these respiratory viruses this season. Well, the number of flu cases are actually going down in some communities, which is good news according to the CDC, but virus activity does remain high across most of the country. The agency says more than 23,000 people were admitted to the hospital with the flu last week, which was less than the previous week. However, the growing number of flu cases so far this season is the highest it's been in a decade, which is kind of staggering. And then there are still concerns, of course, with flu and then RSV and COVID, what has kind of been coined as the triple-demic of recently.
Triple-demic, triple threat.
Yeah.
It's out there. In case you missed it, it's time to get your tickets to Frisco.
Yeah.
So the Jackrabbits won on Saturday, the Bison huge comeback on Friday. So set up the stage for this. This year, the game is on Sunday.
Yeah.
So January 8th, I believe. So lots of talk about that game. I think people are still, that Bison comeback was incredible. The Jackrabbits had no problem.
Yeah, they won pretty easily, but the Bison game was an interesting one to start out.
Oh my goodness.
Had people holding their breath a little bit.
Yeah, like were we going to score in the first quarter? It was very scary. So we were talking. So Dom's going to be talking about this for sure all week long.
Yeah.
Probably the next couple weeks, talking about the big FCS championship game. But could we also talk about the Vikings?
Oh my
comeback?
goodness,
that was incredible. That was Saturday too, right?
Yeah, Saturday, and it was the biggest comeback in NFL history. In case you hadn't heard that, 33-0 they were down to the Colts, and they came back and won.
It's crazy.
Christmas miracle.
Christmas. Vikings fans need one of those every once in a while.
Yeah.
So usually it's the other way around.
And
if they would have, yeah.
And a fun fact, I think, if I remember correctly, the Vikings are 10-0 in one possession games this year, which is kind of crazy.
Could this year be the year?
Maybe. Find out.
You never, I know Dom's going to be talking about that as well. So be sure to tune in 9 to 11, WDAY Extra, InForum.com. Dom's Hot Mic is happening this morning. So many great sports stories happening right now, even though it's holiday week. So.
Yeah. Well, we have a great deal going on as well, Lisa. We have half off your subscription to InForum.com right now. That goes through the 23rd of December. A great present for that person that you don't know what to get, or just a present to
Yeah, and
yourself.
the countdown's on, because if you're a procrastinator, you only have a couple of days left here. So yeah, half off your annual subscription. Just go to InForum.com/subscribe to get that deal for yourself or a loved one.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you for joining us for this InForum Live, InForum.com Live, this WDAY Facebook Live. We're going to be bringing you more news and, of course, covering this really terrible, frigid cold streak that's happening throughout the week. 11 o'clock is our next newscast, but 4, 5, 6, 9, and 10 as well, tracking all of that cold weather. And make sure you have that Storm Tracker weather app with you, because the road conditions, like we talked about right away, terrible.
Just bad. Not great. And then we'll be back 5 to 7 tomorrow morning with all the latest headlines and your weather news as well. Until then, thanks for joining us.